On February 13, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shifted the PMO from the British-era South Block to the newly built Sewatirth. This wasn't just a change of address, it marked the end of a 79-year-old journey that began on the eve of independence. So how did this office become so powerful? And how did each Prime Minister reshape it? Until 1977, it was Prime Minister's Secretariat, PMS, not the PMO. But two things have always been there. One, Prime Minister's desire to stay above all in terms of decision making. And second, the PM's desire has constantly been challenged by cabinet secretaries. Let's begin with Nehru's story. On the eve of independence, Jawaharlal Nehru wanted a strong Prime Minister's Secretariat. He believed that the Prime Minister must have the freedom to act swiftly, especially in the newly independent nation. But there was resistance. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel believed that India would follow the cabinet system, where decisions are collective. The Prime Ministers, he argued, that is first among equals, not superior to cabinet. This was not a small disagreement. It was about the very design of power in India. In the end, Nehru did not formally create an overpowering PMO, but in practice, he often took key decisions independently. The office began modestly, but the Prime Minister's personality shaped its influence. That principle would continue for decades. The real turning point came under Indira Gandhi. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Prime Minister's Secretariat was no longer just assisting. It was coordinating policy, monitoring ministries, and influencing political strategy. Power began flowing directly through the PM's office instead of the cabinet system. And then came 1975, the emergency. The declaration itself showed how centralized authority had become. Even senior officials were informed at the last moment. From that point on, the PMO was firmly established as the nerve center of executive power. After years later, under Atal Bihari Vajpayee, another structural change happened. The post of National Security Advisor was created within the PMO framework. This brought defense, intelligence, and strategic policy closer to the Prime Minister's inner circle. The PMO was no longer just handling governance. It became India's strategic command hub. National security decisions, including nuclear policy, was monitored directly from the PMO. Since 2014, Narendra Modi has reshaped the PMO into a tightly monitored performance management center. Appointments are centralized, ministries are reviewed directly, decision-making is streamlined. Even the file system reflects this culture. Unlike other ministries, the PMO does not write notes directly on official files. Instead of that, parallel shadow files are maintained internally. This allows the PMO to record decisions, track ministries, and preserve institutional memory without altering original departmental documents. Today, around 300 officials work inside the PMO. And now, with the move to Sewatirth, three key institutions, the PMO, the National Security Council Secretariat, and the Cabinet Secretariat, are housed within the same complex, physically integrated, administratively centralized. Over nearly 8 decades, the Prime Minister's office has evolved in phases, from a debated secretariat to a centralized authority, to a security command center, to a performance-driven monitoring hub. But one thing remains constant. The PMO's power doesn't come from its building, not from the South Block, not from the Sewatirth. It comes from the political authority of the Prime Minister who occupies it. The address may change, but in Indian politics, the real power has always rested in one question: how much control does the Prime Minister choose to exercise? And that answer has defined every era.